Morning. Morning, everybody. Aaron, what time is it for you? I'm surprised to see you on the stream. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Make sure I'm recording this. Yes, I am. Let me know if I'm coming through okay before I get started. Aaron, Amira, James, Martin, Dill, Silver, loud and clear. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into the market, shall we, on a Monday morning? It is a Monday, remember. However, woke up in the middle of the night for no reason. All right, fair enough. I'm honored. The first thing you do is come and join on the stream. That's nice to see. Morning, John. Morning, John. Okay, SPX is, it's risk off today. Absolutely risk off. I know we haven't broken through these lows yet, but it certainly looks at the moment, like it's possibly inevitable. Is that a bad thing to say? But it certainly does look bearish. We've got our V reversal here. From a setup perspective, I do have the SPX on my watch list, purely looking for a slight bit of pullback here from the V reversal, but ultimately leading to a breakthrough of this 4050 handle or whatever it is, this area here. So, yeah, for me, it's risk off. Now, I'm not going to say go and panic, and this is going to melt, all the way down here. Absolutely not. In the grand scheme of things, it actually is, looking at it from possibly a different perspective here, pretty healthy, if we're coming from here. So, again, we're not going to look at this as a weekly chart. This could be a 4-hour chart or whatever. But a harder reset from this area would be relatively healthy. So as I said, from an investment standpoint, I'll be looking at buying up this index to hold. Would make absolute sense. And will be interesting to see how far this moves to the downside. So daily is holding underneath this area. The 4-hour is tagging this area, which we're expecting a reaction from because we got a reaction previously. Remember, markets are made up of people. So yeah, ideally from a trading wise, you possibly get a pullback, but I wouldn't be surprised if this just pushes through or pulls through, I guess, or falls down because, markets are uncertain. It's risk off and buys for the SPX, possibly pull back to the downside, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just fell through. So in which case, obviously, we're looking at those risk-off assets. We're looking at the dollar. We're looking at the yen. We're looking at the Swiss against those commodities until we see a reason why that shouldn't be the case. But putting the odds in our favor, risk-off, looking at those setups, make absolute sense. The dollar, I'm going to have to go a little bit quicker today, guys. I've got a very, very busy day. Griffey and Martin, I will message you today as well. So I'm going to try and get through it. Apologies for that, but quite a lot of things going on today for me. Dollar's looking strong, though. Daily does look a little bit better. Going with the trend on this is breaking through this resistance area to the upside. A slight little complex corrective here before we push. Yes, I agree. The daily is possibly a little bit extended, would we say? Maybe not. Not as bad as it was previously. It has had a pullback. Outside bullish engulfer. The 20 period is not massively extended from price. And you go with that. You go with that. Buying the dollar makes sense as well. So for me, analyzing the dollar on the SPX this morning is relatively simple. You go with the trend. The trend is up on the dollar, the trend is down on the SPX, and you just continue with that. So looking at setups, buying the dollar makes sense. Okay, let's have a look at EA first before we go into it. The trade that I'm currently in on this aggressive, obviously daily chart, so we're not really interested in looking at it from a 30-minute perspective, although it does look quite nice, quite healthy to the upside. Possibly from a 4-hour perspective, we maybe want a slight pullback here before continuation. But ultimately, as is a daily chart, we want to look at it on the daily. It can still move, breaking through this area. Remember, this day has not closed yet, so there's a long time to go before this daily candle closes. And now it's just a waiting game. We just wait and let this do what it wants to do. It does look good. We are breaking through. It is risk off. China, obviously, is China still in lockdown? I haven't read it this morning, but Aussie has a proxy to that. Yeah, I like the trade. And personal bias from a technical perspective says this can continue to the upside, and I'll let it do that. It's a good thing about the SAR is we get in on decent moves. So if we can get a slight push up, you know, and certainly in this week, you'd expect this to be a guaranteed profitable trade because of our trade management system. You know, if it does come down, you'd expect the SAR to kind of flip, and then we get out at that point. You know, ideally, we're looking for that decent move. And, yeah, let's see. And I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with it thus far. EA to the upside. Morning, Nick. Morning, Griff. Okay, watch this today. So oil is the first one. Oil longs. I was thinking about this on a 4-hour perspective. I just don't know whether this has become a little bit messy here. For a breakout retest perspective, I was possibly thinking this is our break and and in a retesting phase now. So in order for me to consider this from a 4-hour perspective, because the context is good, right? The context is good. I would need a complex corrective here. So an obviously our ABC. I think that would neaten it up a little bit. But I'm primarily looking at this from a daily perspective. If we can break out and retest on a daily here to go long, that would be quite nice technically. I still don't really agree with it fundamentally, but that doesn't matter. My bias is not there. I'm trading what I see, not what I think. And potential US oil longs. Kiwi yen. Kiwi yen is in its retesting phase. Actually, looking at this, you possibly could have taken a breakout here from a 4-hour perspective on Friday. Possibly. I probably wouldn't have, but again, you could have done that. I'm looking at it from an hourly perspective from our head and shoulders here. So head and shoulders, you know, ABC corrective. Aaron, is Aaron here? Still here? Could have got in that as your possible aggressive entry, could you? New Zealand yen. Volume coming in. That could have been an aggressive entry there. Anyway. Yeah, looking for a retest of this area. It's currently in our retesting phase. If we can get back there, 20-period catch-up, selling the Kiwi yen. Daily is good, ready to move. I like the idea of that trade. We look at it from a daily perspective. Obviously, we're seeing us break through structure here. And with the risk-off attitude, yeah, I like that trade. I'd certainly looking at setups with the yen. We could even look at a breakout retest here on the 4-hour in terms of looking at this back here, which is on as well. Why is that gone lighter? Oh. There we go. So we can look at breakout retest here, but yeah, I like the New Zealand yen as a pair, and I like the idea of that trade. So let's see if it retests and retests how we like it. New Zealand yen. Swiss yen. Swiss yen is Swiss yen's very close. So from a 4-hour perspective, I think for me, I need another reload, let's say. So we've got our V reversal. We're kind of getting our squeeze in. It's not enough just yet to take the break, and maybe that might ring true in terms of what's happening right now. You know, if we look at our squeeze, right, I just think another slight reload here for me would be a better trade. And as I said, my gut is telling me this is not enough from a 4-hour perspective to take that short. But if we do get another slight reload, there could be an aggressive up in here. But ultimately, Swiss yen shorts, I know they're both risk-off pairs, but the yen will be an added beneficiary of that. I mean, the only issue with this is it's counter trend, right? That's the only issue with it. Are we getting our complex corrective to move to the upside? Which is why I kind of need a little bit more on that 4-hour. Alternatively, looking at the hourly and the 30-minute, you know, from this section here, you can go first structure, second structure, third, but you know, we're looking at our cup with handle here, essentially looking for a breakthrough, retest, continuation to the downside. So if Sven, should I start calling it Sven, Swiss yen, Sven, it does do that and decides to break down, then yeah, a breakout retest on smaller time frames. Obviously, the hourly is there as well here. Would make sense. Would make sense, but just looking for a real solid break. Sven, yeah, maybe I could call it Sven. Sven, my favorite pair. Thought the same thing, but I thought it was just enough for me based on the 2 candles before the break a few hours ago. You're already in CJ on the break. Okay, so you've just been triggered in, Aaron, right? I presume your stop is somewhere up here. Yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, it just needed a little bit more. My gut tells me a little bit more. but I like the premise of the trade. The issue with it is it counter trend on this daily? Well, it is counter trend on this daily for me still. You know, I know others would say, well, break a structure, but obviously you guys know what I'm looking for, in which case you can make money. C wave doesn't have to be here. You know, we can come for a deeper C, let's say, and you make money on that break downwards, but we just have to have, you know, be aware that we are in that counter trend environment. And I do think it comes down. You know, we'll probably get some reaction around this area as we normally do, which we are getting. But ultimately, I do like Swiss yen to the downside. Okay, breakouts. A few breakouts. Swiss yen I just talked about. EU is on the cards. Nick, I know you've done well on EU this morning, so well done. Good trade. Agreed with the bias. 4-hour perspective, we're looking at our head and shoulders here. This wasn't an aggressive in here because there was not enough volume, or basically a reduction in volume. But coming down to this area, accumulation, 20-period catch-up, continuation of that, you know, trend, corrective, push through, makes sense. Dollar strong. Dailies had a decent corrective, roughly around to that 20. You know, if we do get a few days of consolidation here, that would be even better for me. But yeah, EU down makes sense. EU down absolutely makes sense. So yeah, looking for a 4-hour breakout on that. Just need a little bit more accumulation, like a proper tag of this area again, reducing the significance, and either come in the form of a slightly smaller reload or in the form of accumulation. Either way, it's good enough for me to potentially take if we do get that. Pound Swiss. So notice I think all of the setups here are favoring the risk off. Pound Swiss, EU, yes, yeah, they're all favoring risk off. From a daily perspective, still looking for this to come down, and again, this is a little bit of ways away. Look at this here or this here. Head and shoulders, come down, accumulate, slightly reload, break out to the downside. Not going to go into that too much because it's got some ways to go. There is a possibility, although I was thinking about the aggressive on this, but I normally don't like when this happens. I like to normally see like a proper close, i.e. our candle bodies close here rather than a wick rejection. So the other option is if, you know, aggressive entry, which I don't know if this will happen, but it may do up in here from a daily perspective. But for what I'm looking at, I think, you know, maybe something up in here for price to break through this key area. And context as a whole is really nice. You know, it's still going with that larger term trend. So you can look at this, cut with head and shoulders. But, you know, technically that's a really nice chart. And I'd like to be involved in it. I saw this on the 4-hour. If I remove this, the SAR, you know, we have got a V reversal here on the 4-hour chart. But, and your possible head and shoulders, but you got your 200 there. It's maybe one for me, considering there's no higher time frame confluence with the breakout, that I would probably just have to leave, because, you know, you're worried about this fake and then movement back down. But it's actually not a bad context, right? Pound Swiss V reversal longs. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, it doesn't make sense to me with where this daily is. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does possibly push up and maybe give us that ABC on the daily, but before ultimately moving down. 30-minute looks up going to ABC. 30-minute. I just see a pullback here, Silver. Can't see. We can't have B wave here because of it's broken the highs. So I just see a pullback, but yeah, shorter term it does look good long. I'll give you that. I just don't know how far it goes before possibly, you know, a big movement to the downside. But let's see. You know, things can change so quickly. So although it does look risk off, we know what the market's like. It can shift momentum very quickly. So Pound Swiss is still on the list anyway. Morning, EFO. Pound Yen is another one. Still setting up. Daily perspective, again, very similar to Pound Swiss. We're looking at this come down, accumulate, 20 catch up to break to the downside is option numero uno. From a 4-hour perspective, we are looking of that. We're looking for that tag of this area to get down to this significant zone. Obviously, we've seen this pattern on the daily. come down here. Another slight reload. If it does get down, we could look for an aggressive up in here to short it, which again, I would like, but still got some time before that pattern develops. But pound yen does look good to the downside. And again, another one that makes sense to me short in that market. And finally, the SPX 500. Oh, I've done that already. So I've done that. You know what I'm looking for? V reversal in here. Possible pullback, something like this for a breakout to the downside, as I talked about. So I think the closest on the list to look at today would obviously be Kiwi yen for a breakout retest, which, I mean, touch wood, is that a bad thing to do? The breakout retest has been working pretty well this year so far, probably the best strategy in terms of breakout retest, but this is probably the closest one. Could come on any of the I'm probably going to say not the 30, but hourly 4-hour potential for a breakout retest on Kiwi yen. It does make sense, and EU is quite close as well. So there's a few things that do look nice for the week coming up. Just have to see if we get them. Okay, silver, you sent some charts. Let's have a look. Silver euro. Yeah, that's nice, mate. That's nice. Silver euro. I know the daily is slightly extended, right? But context-wise, yeah, that's good. Yeah. I like that, silver. I like that. I've got no comments on that apart from, yeah, it's good. Silver against the euro. Normally, I don't like it when we do this. You know, I prefer price action to come down, give us that area, and then give us our context. So, gold against the euro, probably not as nice. But still, I guess you can say it is still relevant. We do have our V reversal here. We have got our ABC corrective. Clearly, it is... Well, actually, do you know what? That's wrong, because in this scenario, we have respected this area, right? We've broken through it here, but we have respected it here and here as well. So, yeah, I'd say that's valid. That's actually valid looking at it again. Right off the, initially right off the bat, I usually like this and then give us it. But I guess with this particular example, the area is being respected. This is the respected area by the market, irrespective of what it did when it broke through. So, yeah. Contexts are good. Contexts are good. I like this one. That in terms of context, nice accumulation, good break, coming on, increasing volume. Yeah, I like that breakout retest. I like that, silver. Good. Pound New Zealand, possible aggressive entry 4-hour. Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand. Yeah, I mean, bias would be down, right? Or would it? Or in this. Rejection here. Possibly not quite ready. So there's certainly two... It depends on how you're looking at it. There's definitely two ways... Excuse me, guys. There's definitely two ways to look at that. Whereas we're looking at impulse corrective. Or are we looking at potential bend at the end of the trend, head and shoulders at the end of the trend. So... That comes down to what you see. There's an argument for both in terms of higher time frames. I did have that area as well. A little bit climactic here from a 4-hour perspective. I mean, yeah. If you get your possible reason to enter here, there would be a case for it, yeah. I mean, you're possibly getting it now, right? It's not the cleanest. This chart is not the cleanest. I'm not going to tell you it is, because for me, it's not. From this section in here, push through. I don't think it's an ideal aggressive, to be honest with you, Aaron. But probably B class, right? Maybe even coming down a little bit. Yeah. Just not as nice. just not as nice on that 4 hour. But I wouldn't be surprised if you're right. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. It is, you know, we talk about ready to move. If you look at it from that perspective, where we're getting some rejection from here, from the latest impulse, then yeah, pound has been relatively weak. Rejection, move back down, not quite ready here. In which case, yeah, there's certainly a case for it. You know, I think a better option, right, a better trade would be to wait to let the market tell you a little bit and then look for aggressive somewhere in here. I think that's a safer play. Yeah? Because right now, a little bit messy, so if the market just decides to come back down, tag that area, I understand you may not get it, it may not do this, but I think that would be a better entry in terms of pound New Zealand shorts. And I think in that case, the daily does look a little bit better as well, visualizing what price action might look at if it does do that. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's okay, but I think third structure would be better than second in that particular scenario. Anything else you guys want me to look at? I'll let you type, John. Currently, pound New Zealand broke into the upside on the daily and 4 hour. Yeah, it's got some impulsive price action. If New Zealand Kiwi wants to weaken off, being you know part of that primary risk off currencies, or risk on currencies, should I say? So I wouldn't be surprised if it moved either way. I just think I know what Aaron's trying to trade. Obviously, I know what he's looking for. I just think that is a better scenario for pound New Zealand shorts. But yeah, I could see that going either way. Bitcoin, yeah, let's have a look at Bitcoin before I go. So what we at 33.5. I don't see any barriers now. Down to 30. But by the way, even though I said 30k to buy, that doesn't mean I'm just gonna buy at 30k, because it doesn't mean that 30k is going to hold. I want to see a real reason to buy a Bitcoin. So in terms of naked Forex, a very simple thing I'd be looking at as we get down is, you know, our simple hammer bar and engulfing bar, evening star, something like that, bit of volume coming in for me to buy up. So I think you're right. I think it does go down to 30k now. Certainly, I mean, certainly looks bearish, but let's wait for the market to tell us to buy this up. Yeah, and similar with GU. Similar with Ethereum and you know the larger coins, let's say, but Bitcoin and Ethereum, yeah, these are buys all day for me. I'm not going 100% portfolio in, but you know, certainly 5-10%. Buying the dip would make sense. Trying to work on seeing both sides better. My mind locks in what I want instead of You sometimes do that, right? You paint a picture of what you like, and I understand, it's understandable. I do it as well, of what I like to see. I kind of do it less now, but yeah, with that, I think there's just question marks, right? There is question marks. My gut would say wait a little bit more to let the market tell you. I'm in GU short on the breakout. GU. Yeah. Yep. Bias is down. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Buying the dollar, buying the yen, buying the Swiss against anything else, for me, if you're going to say, right, I'm selling this, I would say, yeah, I agree with it, because that's where we are in terms of our risk sentiment. I've been looking at GI trade only when there's a trend, but I've noticed a possible short setup, key level, and small support and resistance level in the 1 hour. GA. You're looking at shorting it, right? Up to a deeper retracement. Oh, yeah, okay. So, for me, yeah, that's your kind of, actually kind of similar to aggressive entries into it. I mean, I wouldn't. It's very similar to GN, where I'd be waiting a little bit more. I'd be looking the same thing with GN, waiting for that or this, right? But yeah, if that's what you see, that's what you see, my friend. That's what you see. All right. Anything else before I go? Remember, it is a Monday. Mondays are sometimes quiet. We don't want to blow our accounts or risk too heavy on a Monday. Pretty happy with EA daily chart trade, and I'll certainly be looking at Kiwi yen, and I like the idea of that trade. So retesting is good. If this does turn into a little bit climactic as we're getting, possible complex in here, because I can't take a retest that looks like this. So let's see how that goes. Let's see how it goes. Right, guys. Appreciate you coming on as always. Hey, Lam. And I'll see you all tomorrow. See you all tomorrow. Yeah, will do. I feel sorry for them. It's properly summer here now. I was telling Megan, like, we're booking Spain, August, September. I would love to be in Spain, but it depends on her work as well, unfortunately. But next year, I'm gonna be away from Dubai from probably this point in time till September. Horrible, and I feel sorry for the dogs. I'm trying to play with them inside. Just too hot. No worries, guys. Trade safe. Yeah, I can't wait to go this year, Amira. I'll tell you something, I cannot wait to go. 2 months. I'm gonna try and play for 2 months, depending on what happens with Royce and Sydney. If we can get a carer, I think I'll put them to my brother's house. But let's see. Anyway, just to get out of the heat. All right, guys, have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in the morning. Trade safe. Peace.